Denver 7 On Demand is brought to you by Ferguson and BAC Appliance Center, the best in bath, kitchen, and lighting for your home.
Good evening, I'm Ann Trujillo with the latest from Denver 7. Contact 7 is exposing a connection between two Denver dealerships accused of passing off problem cars as quality rides. Now, we've been working this story for months now, spurred on by more than 100 complaints from customers who say they got a raw deal. Contact 7's Jason Grenauer has the latest twist in this saga.
Amanda Frausto Ruiz needed a bigger vehicle to get her 4 kids to school.
A 2015 Dodge Journey.
But just after she bought it from Family Trucks and Vans on South Broadway in Denver,
my check engine light came on. And that was, I believe, 2 weeks later.
That was only the beginning of her problems.
At first it started leaking, which you can see. All this oil is from this one.
Back and forth to the shop, eventually her husband found metal shavings in her oil.
Dodge actually told us that the car, if it's having that many problems, the motor might not make it because it's already knocking.
She bought it used, as is. What do you think they sold you?
A lemon.
And she's not alone. I spoke to one customer who claimed her car was sold to her full of recalls, like an airbag and seatbelt issues. Another says they bought a truck, it was repossessed, and the dealer tried to sell it back to them. Family Trucks and Vans has also been investigated at least 3 times in the last 2 years by the state of Colorado for misrepresentation. And then there's the Better Business Bureau, where they have been given a pattern of complaint on their business profile, saying the dealership failed to repair damages that were identified prior to sale.
We wouldn't be in business this long at the same location if we weren't doing things right.
We sat down with General Manager Nache Cedillos and asked about those complaints.
The volume of cars that we've sold for 43 years, I'd say it's just a few. It's minor.
All cars here are used and sold as is. It's a used car, and therefore you shouldn't be accountable for if they break a few days or weeks after they're driven off the lot?
No, we shouldn't be accountable.
Those complaints and those answers, in many ways, mirror those of our Contact 7 investigation of the Sharpest Rides dealership.
It's got moving parts and oil, and things happen.
The Sharpest Rides is owned by Kevin Sharp. Family Trucks and Vans is owned by his father, John Sharp.
There's not any other connection really than that.
Except there is. Vehicles from both Family Trucks and Vans and the Sharpest Rides are repaired at a third separate facility, the Sharpest Automotive. So you share a repair shop?
Well, we do in a sense.
That's the same shop where Ruben Castillo worked. We spoke to him in late November. You're saying that you were instructed to take broken or mechanically deficient vehicles
and send them back
to be sold?
Correct.
And this happened
multiple times over my 2.5 years that I've been there.
That means that those vehicles could have come back to this dealer, is that right?
Possibly.
Have you or do you sell vehicles with knowledge that they have issues to people without either disclosing them or just simply to sell them?
Never.
The GM maintained the dealership has done nothing wrong, says they donate to charity and help people with bad credit. That noise isn't normal. That doesn't help Amanda with a barely operable car.
I'm going to be paying for a car that's not going to be working.
And the number to call if you have a concern is right there on your screen. You can also email us at contact7@thedenverchannel.com. And now from the First Alert Weather Center, here's Mike Nelson with a look at your forecast.
And we have a couple of storms coming into the state over the next few days. Most of the moisture is going to stay in the mountains. Down here on the plains, just a little bit of moisture. So for Wednesday, mountain snow, clouds on the plains, 47. Partly cloudy Thursday, 52. I think we get an inch or 2 of snow in Denver on Friday, while the mountains get another 6 to 12 inches. Temperatures will be cool Saturday with 40. Sunday a little bit milder, and then another storm arrives Monday and Tuesday with heavy mountain snow, colder weather, and maybe a few inches of snow down here.
Thank you, Mike. The Denver Teachers Union and the district have until Friday to come to an agreement on pay or risk a strike, something neither side wants to see. Just this morning, Superintendent Susana Cordova stopped by Denver 7, and she told us these concerns are not being taken lightly, and she knows firsthand the struggle teachers go through.
You know, I live in Denver. I was a DPS teacher. My closest friends are DPS teachers, and I definitely understand how difficult and challenging it is to live in the Denver economy.
Now, we plan to have the union on later this week so they can give us their side and We will, of course, keep an eye on negotiations as that deadline approaches. 2,000 federal workers have now filed for unemployment benefits in Colorado as this partial shutdown stretches on without an end in sight. More than a fifth of those workers live in Jefferson County, a tenth in Denver, another 10 in Arapahoe County. Now, there are resources out there for federal workers who are in need of assistance, and we have posted a list on thedenverchannel.com. And just some heart-wrenching news tonight. The state tells us a child has died after contracting the flu. The health department couldn't tell us the child's age, but did say the death happened here in the... So far, 1,200 people have been hospitalized in Colorado, and flu activity is considered widespread across our state. Nearly 170 of those cases involve children 4 and younger. 675 involve patients 50 and older. There was a time not so long ago when smoking was allowed just about anywhere, including airplanes, and even more recently, restaurants. So where can you smoke today? Well, in Greeley, the ban on cigarettes could soon extend to outdoor spaces as well. And that has our Russell Haythorne going 360 on smoking, and what he heard from smokers and non-smokers might surprise you.
Up here, the air is nice and clear. Down here, on the other hand, holy smokes.
Personally, I do smoke in the park.
So we're standing at Avons Village.
When Greeley Parks and Rec Director Andy McRoberts,
We worked with the Tobacco Coalition,
recently visited the city's brand new $1.4 million playground.
Ready, set, go.
What he saw practically took his breath away.
There's some parents around on the playground smoking, and it just didn't feel right.
So the city is now considering a smoking ban in public places.
This is an expansion of our smoking prohibition to include some outdoor areas.
We're going 360 on the issue.
Come on, let's go.
Starting with Debbie Stewart, a grandma whose husband smokes but says given the overwhelming research,
adults shouldn't really be smoking around children, the secondhand smoke. I know our kids had a lot of ear infections because of being around secondhand smoke before we knew about that.
This Vietnam vet and former smoker agrees.
Maybe at your house and in your yard, but up in public like this, it doesn't need to be smelled or seen.
Gilbert Martinez also hates the waste.
And then kids, what do? Pick them up or eat them, right? Or play with them. We don't need that.
But some say there is an argument for smoker rights.
I think it's your right to smoke. I mean, it's not good for you or whatever, but I guess it's your right if you want to smoke.
Tom Lewis says it is his right, but he also feels a sense of responsibility to be aware of his surroundings.
I wouldn't go over to a playground and sit there and smoke in front of a bunch of kids or have them breathe in the smoke.
And perhaps surprisingly, that's the sentiment we found amongst most smokers. Do you think it's all becoming too much from a smoker's perspective?
Not at all.
Smoker Amy Roy not only supports the ban, she believes any argument against it is just smoke and mirrors.
If I have to walk to the outskirts of a park or, not be able to smoke outside a restaurant, I do not have a problem with it. I think that it's very fair and needed.
Greeley already has a ban on smoking at ball fields like Butch Butler Swimming Pool and the Greeley Stampede's Island Grove Arena. The expanded ban would apply to playgrounds, covered pavilions, skate parks, and sport courts.
All of our outdoor sport courts would be basketball and tennis.
McRoberts says there's certainly a precedent for this with similar bans in cities like Fort Collins and Wheat Ridge.
We are in the business of health and wellness and recreation for everybody.
And even smokers who see both sides.
I'm neutral about it, I would say.
Aren't totally opposed.
Yeah, you could just go smoke on the sidewalk or somewhere else. I would abide by the laws and everything if they passed it.
Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
And the issue is up for a final vote before Greeley City Council. So we want to know, what do you think? Should smoking be banned in more places? Or do you think the current restrictions are enough? Let us know on Facebook or Twitter, or you can email us 360@thedenverchannel.com. This has been your Denver 7 On Demand Update. Thank you so much for joining us. And check back here later tonight for another update, and download the Denver 7 app for breaking news and alerts. I'm Ann Trujillo.